Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be doing our third in going to the dogs, and this time we're going to be making them their dog shampoo. It's going to be in the form of dog soap that you just wet it and put it on their, you wet the dog, then you just rub the bar over them, and voila! You've got dog shampoo. It's going to be all natural and it's going to be great. You're going to start out with glycerin or, well, whatever kind of that pour and the melt and pour soap that you like. And this is glycerin. Whichever kind you like is fine. And you want to cube it up into small cubes, and that's what I'm doing here. And 4 ounces is what we're going to start with. And I'm going to cube it, melt it, and I'll be back. Melted, and this, I don't know if I told you, that was 4 ounces, and I just weighed it on a postage scale, and I'm going to spray a little alcohol over the top to get the bubbles off the top, and hopefully they will stay off the top. Then we're going to add to it a 1/4 teaspoon of glycerin. Trying to find my quarter. Why can't I find it? I'm just going to go with, that's got to be 1/4. I don't know why it says that. It's got to be 1/4. It says it's a teaspoon, but it's not. It's a 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, so we're going to go with a 1/4 teaspoon of glycerin. Pour that in. If at any point your soap gets too, it starts to clump up on you too much, you can always re-microwave it. So I just put my, I'm going to put another squirt in because I don't think I was at a 1/4 teaspoon. And then after that, you're going to put in a tablespoon of an herbal shampoo. And I just use, it's called Carol's Daughter. That's the brand. And it's a Manoy, I think it's called the type of shampoo. It's all natural. So I'm going to use that, well, in there. And again, a tablespoon. You know, I'll put all this information down in the notes below. Make sure that's right. Yeah, it's the right tablespoon. And what that does is it makes everything a little bit more sudsy for the dog. It makes it more shampoo-y, we'll call it. I don't know. I don't know what we'll call it. Then we're going to put in a few drips, let's say, maybe 8 drops, a very little bit of vitamin E. The recipe, and I'll tell you about the recipe in a second, the recipe called for 400 IU, so I'm assuming what they did is they took a vitamin E capsule and put it in here, like squeeze, you know, pick a hole in it and squeeze the capsule in. But I'm using straight vitamin E oil, so mine's a lot more, it's not diluted. It's 56,000 IU. So it's, like I said, it's a lot more concentrated. And that's really good for the dog's coat. Then we're going to use a little bit of lavender to scent it. And also, fleas don't like lavender. And it's a good, you know, it just is a nice natural essential oil that will really change your scent of your soap so that it's nice, and you know, when you do when your dog has her bath or his bath, it'll come out really smelling nice like lavender. And I think, let's see, is that everything I want to put in? Yep, that's everything I need to put in. And then I have a soap mold. If you don't have a soap mold, you can just use something like this, as long as it's pretty bendy, because you're going to need to be able to pop it out, and the sides have to graduate upwards, kind of like let's say maybe a Dixie cup, because you have to be able to, at the end of it, you have to be able to punch it out. That makes sense, right? And if I have any extra, I just kind of my containers I use are usually ones that I'm just going to put into recycling. I don't want them to be ones that are you know, something I'm going to reuse once I put the scent in it, because I don't like that scent to be in anything that I would use for food, and it's really hard to get essential oils out of anything once you put them in. So we're going to let this set, and it will mold, and then we'll be back. we're making soup now. Our soap is nice and firm, and then all you're going to need to do is kind of play with it until we can get it out. Now this is why it's important that you have one of those containers that the edges are more, what's the word, slanted, because this is hard to get out. I'm going to put some warm water on it, and I'll be right back. What I did was I ran some hot water on the bottom of this, and then it just pops right out. That's the secret if it's stuck. But if you don't have a mold like this, and honestly it doesn't really do much besides make the shape of your soap, so you could have anything. I hope you can see the shape of this, how it goes from smaller on the bottom to larger on the top. This particular thing probably wouldn't work well because there's all these ridges, but it's the shape I'm trying to explain to you works really well because it's easier to do, you know, like to squeeze it and to pop it out. So I would recommend, if you have something else that's shaped like this, you could use takeout containers. I think any styrofoam containers would work well that have a shape like this. You know, the ones that you get like coleslaw in? They would be perfect for this. And then it would give you something nice to hold on to while you're washing the dog. So let me kind of walk through the steps again. I want to make sure that I cover some things that are really important on this. When you're doing this, remember this is for a dog, so you want to make sure everything in the soap is dog friendly. And the lady that made this dog soap is called Cheryl Keeley, and she was on Just a Soap internet site, and everybody gave a bunch of recipes, and she gave this one. And she did check with her vet on them to make sure that the things that she was using were good for dogs. And again, she used just regular melt and pour soap, and she used herbal shampoo, and I used an herbal shampoo. Mine is all natural. It has no sulfates in it, and that's important. You don't want anything that has a sulfate in it. You just want natural for your dog. Again, you want vitamin E. I think she just used a vitamin E, a 400 vitamin E capsule, and squeezed it out. So what I did is, since I had this higher powered vitamin E, she used the whole capsule. I just put in like 6 or 7 drops of this, and you get this at CVS, obviously. And then glycerin, you get that in, it's usually you can find it in the nail department or in the skincare department of, again, CVS or Walmart. And then I used lavender. Here's what she recommended. She recommended tea tree oil and peppermint and lavender. And she said that the reason was tea tree was really good for fleas, and peppermint was good for it's like it helps healing, and so does lavender. I don't like the smell of tea tree, so I did not put it in there, but tea tree is one of the things that most people put with this. If you hear something that sounds like a rattle, it's my dog playing with a toy. I apologize for that. It's Honey. She's going to be the one to get this. And basically, once your bar of soap is made, all you do is wet your dog really, really well, and then you're going to rub this on the dog until you get a little bit of a lather, and then you're going to just rinse them off. Pretty much the same as any other soap. The thing that's nice about this is you really control how much. I don't know about you guys, but when I put shampoo on my dogs, I always put way too much shampoo on, and then it takes me forever to rinse it off. This should not have that problem because you're controlling how much soap you're putting on your dog. So I think that's about all the things I wanted to make sure I told you. Let me make sure. Yeah, I think that's it. I guess I did want to tell you the vitamin E is good for their skin, and I did tell you about the lavender is good for the making sure they heal well. And fleas don't like the smell of lavender, and they also don't like the smell of tea tree. Maybe peppermint, I'm not sure, but any of those three. And she mixed tea tree and peppermint, or tea tree and lavender, and I only did one. So it's up to you what you want to do. It's your dog, and the way you're going to smell it is going to be up to you. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you like this series that's going to the dogs, because I think it's lots of fun, and I hope you do too. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye. It's Sandy Parker and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be doing our third and going to the dogs, and this time we're going to be making them their dog shampoo. It's going to be in the form of dog soap that you just wet it and put it on their, you wet the dog, then you just rub the bar over them and voila! You've got dog shampoo. It's going to be all natural and it's going to be great. You're going to start out with glycerin or, well, whatever kind of that pour and the melt and pour soap that you like. And this is glycerin. Whichever kind you like is fine. And you want to cube it up into small cubes, and that's what I'm doing here. And 4 ounces is what we're going to start with. And I'm going to cube it, melt it, and I'll be back.